Hey everybody, this is Tracy here with another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here to talk about the passing of Mary Wilson, who was one of the co-founders of the Supremes. And you guys know the Supremes was like the first huge successful singing group, all-female singing group that included the great Mrs. Diana Ross, okay? And so Mary Wilson passed today at the age of 76. And so this information that I'm providing to you is coming from NPR. And it says that Mary passed away suddenly at her Henderson, Nevada home. The singer's longtime friend and publicist, Jay Schwartz, said in a statement, and no cause of death has been given. Wilson was a trendsetter who broke down social, racial, and gender barriers, Schwartz said in his statement. Wilson was born March 6, 1944 in Greenville, Mississippi. Not long after her birth, her parents headed to St. Louis and then Chicago for better opportunities, but separated soon thereafter. As a 3-year-old, Wilson was sent to Detroit to live with her aunt and uncle. As she told the Wall Street Journal last May, she believed that they were her biological parents for much of her childhood until her mother arrived in Detroit when she was 10. She lived in the Brewster Douglass projects where she met fellow singers Diana Ross, Florence Ballard, and Betty McGlown. By the time she was 15, they had become a group called the Primettes. Ross coaxed her former neighbor Smokey Robinson to introduce her to hitmaker Berry Gordy, and his Motown label, but Gordy thought they were too young to sign. The teenagers refused to let that stop them. They hung around his Hitsville, USA studio until he let them appear on other people's records doing hand claps and backing vocals. With singer Barbara Martin replacing McGlown, they finally signed with Gordy's Motown label as the Supremes in 1961. When Martin departed in 1962, the group carried on as a trio, releasing their debut album, Meet the Supremes, in December of that year. In 1967, Gordy replaced Ballard with Cindy Birdsong and renamed the group Diana Ross and the Supremes. 3 years later, Ross left for a solo career, and the group once again became the Supremes with singer Jean Terrell added to the lineup, leaving Mary Wilson as the lone original member. The group achieved unprecedented success with Motown Records in the 1960s, producing 12 number-one hits, including Where Did Our Love Go?, Baby Love, and Stop in the Name of Love. In 2006, Wilson explained to NPR's News and Notes that in 2001 she had gone back to school to get an associate's degree after her long and stellar career in the music industry. And she was quoted as saying, "I recall being 13 or 16 years old and signing our first recording contract. Well, I didn't know what the heck was on that contract. That's why I went back to college, because I realized that there was so much that we, the Supremes, had given away because we didn't know how to read these contracts. I mean, we could read, we graduated from high school and all that, but the understanding was not there." And how many artists has that testimony that they signed contracts and didn't know what they were signing? In the 2000s, Wilson was an instrumental advocate for the Truth in Music Advertising Act, which is now law in at least 35 states. The legislation ensures that a name of a famed legacy musical group like the Supremes cannot be used by a group of performers unless it includes at least one member of the original act. Well, that's a good act to have when you think about like groups like the Temptations. I swear the Temptations used to come, where a group by the name of the Temptations used to come here all the time performing. And I swear each time a group showed up, it was a different set of people. And at one point, the Temptations were scheduled here at the same time, or like within a week of each other, at two different venues, and it was two totally different groups. And so there was like some legal battle that went on during that time, and that may be what led to this, law that was passed. So that is a good thing. The article finishes up with Wilson was very proud of her activism, as she told News and Notes. One of the biggest jokes has been, and unfortunately is the cost of some people's fame, that on any given night you can probably see a drifter, a coaster, a platter group in different cities, states, countries, and they have no affiliation with the original recording members. We wanted to make the public aware that we're being defrauded, and also that it's taken away from the livelihood of some of the groups who are, a lot older, in their twilight years, to see their legacies, the history that they've made, being destroyed. Berry Cordy said in a statement to NPR, "I was always proud of Mary. She was quite a star in her own right, and over the years continued to work hard to boost the legacy of the Supremes. Mary Wilson was extremely special to me. She was a trailblazer, a diva, and will be deeply missed." And so, of course, over on Twitter, people are giving their condolences. Patti LaBelle wrote, "I am deeply saddened by the passing of the beautiful Mary Wilson. She was a legend and an icon, and what she contributed to the world cannot be overstated. I send my deepest condolences and prayers to her family, loved ones, and fans." Neil deGrasse Tyson wrote, "Founding member of Motown Supremes, whose songs left so many of us up in an era when we were reaching for a voice of our own in an unwelcoming world." Women's Art wrote, "Mary Wilson, 1944 to 2021, U.S. performer, founding member of the Supremes, the most successful Motown act of the 1960s, best charting female group in U.S. art, one of the all-time best-selling girl groups in the world. Rest in peace. Hashtag Women's Art. Hashtag Black History Month." Black Girl Culture wrote, "Rest in peace to one of the original Supremes, the legendary Mary Wilson." Yvette Nicole Brown wrote, "My mom loved Motown. I was raised on the Supremes. I knew every song by heart, even the B-sides. Miss Diana Ross, Miss Mary Wilson, Miss Florence Ballard, Miss Cindy Bird's song were the soundtrack of my childhood. Meeting her was a life highlight. I can't believe that our icons are leaving us brokenhearted." And then the NAACP wrote, "Legendary singer and co-founder of the Supremes, Mary Wilson will be greatly missed. Her impact on culture, her fight for independence, and her mountain-moving voice will live on in her legacy. Rest in power." And so, as you can imagine, there is a part of our culture that is deeply saddened by her passing. 2021 has taken so far, some of our greats. We have Eric Jerome Dickey in the literary community, Hank Aaron in the sports communities, Cicely Tyson in the acting community, and now Mary Wilson in the music community. So rest in peace, Mary Wilson. That's it for me, guys. Leave your comments below, rate the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.